Everybody, this is not lore content, I apologize, but people did want to hear my thoughts on the recent World of Warcraft Midnight announcement, so I figured I would make a short video for you all. Now, I did want to wait a few days' time after the announcement just to wait for the hype to die down, because after all, we all get a little starry-eyed in the face of a new WoW expansion and cinematic. Since then, however, I have had the opportunity to, of course, process my thoughts. My name is Nixxiom, I've been playing World of Warcraft since 2005, and these are my thoughts on what we know so far, at least, of World of Warcraft Midnight, both the good and the bad, and of course, let us start with the good. So number one, the one big thing that keeps coming up in my mind over the past few days is just how excited I am to see and play in this Quel'thalas overhaul. I love old Azeroth, you know, classic WoW, TBC, Wrath of the Lich King, and so seeing Blizzard showing this degree of love to the old world, I think is freaking awesome. I have so many memories of leveling a Blood Elf back in TBC. Blood Elves are one of my favorite races in the game, going all the way back to Warcraft 3. Ghostlands is one of my favorite zones that Blizzard has ever crafted, and what is it going to look like with this new expansion? I guess we're going to find out. After all, it has been a long time since Arthas and the Scourge marched on the Sunwell to restore Quel'Thuzad to life, so is it still the Ghostlands? We're going to find out. Now, in my personal fantasy, I admit this Quel'thalas overhaul has sort of made me begin to dream of a full Azeroth restoration, kind of like what we saw in World of Warcraft Cataclysm, where Blizzard just opens up the whole world map file and begins to update the whole damn thing zone by zone. And maybe that's something we'll see in World of Warcraft The Last Titan, a whole new Azeroth, but we'll see, you know, full remaster, I don't know. The second thing that I absolutely love about what we've seen so far is, of course, player housing. Personally, speaking only for myself, Blizzard has pretty much given me everything that I wanted for player housing in World of Warcraft. I have been making videos on this channel for years talking about how I want player housing to work in World of Warcraft. I've talked about the neighborhoods, neighborhood events, being able to put stuff literally anywhere in your home, even being able to put something just floating in midair like a chair or something. This is spot on exactly what I wanted to see out of housing in this game, and I think that Blizzard has really delivered on this. So of course I'm very excited. This is actually the main feature of the expansion that I'm most excited for, and probably you guys too. The only real con to the player housing system, at least in my opinion, is being a Death Knight main. I kind of wanted a spookier place to put my home rather than these very scenic forests that Blizzard has been teasing. Now, they've sort of teased some spooky-ish areas, but I'm just excited to be able to walk in there and see what they really look like. They said they're going to accommodate the needs of Halloween-loving freaks like me, so we're going to see. The third thing I'd like to talk about as well is the return of Zul'Aman. For anybody that played TBC back in the day, Zul'Aman is probably one of your favorite raids or just sort of lore locations in the world. A bunch of trolls that were being oppressed by the elves, practicing their crazy witch doctor voodoo magic, and then you delve in there and you're fighting their strange Loa gods. And have you seen these new troll models? They look absolutely incredible. So yeah, a return to Zul'Aman and being able to explore it while it's being, you know, infected by the void and stuff. I mean, we're gonna figure out what's going on over there. I'm really excited for that. I don't really know what it is about trolls, I admit, everybody, but I've always really enjoyed them as an enemy, and I guess it's just because of how ancient they are. You know, the trolls have been around for so long lore-wise, and I don't know, I just really like trolls. Speaking of races though, I also think the new allied race looks pretty cool. I like all the customization that Blizzard is teasing and so on. A lot more interesting than the earthen dwarves of War Within, I admit. I mean, granted, I can understand some people not liking them so much because they are just kind of like a troll night elf hybrid, but I do like elves, so these guys are cool. They fall on the good side of my thoughts on Midnight, at least so far. I'm curious about their lore and their story and how they fit in the grander world and the grander, you know, conflict of things, but I guess we're gonna find out. And now let's talk about the negatives, or the bad, or just the things that look a little lackluster when it comes to Midnight. So really the only thing that I can really complain about when it comes to Midnight, as somebody that's been playing this game for a really long time, I'm kind of fatigued and worn out when it comes to all this world-ending stuff. You know, first we have the Legion and Argus. They're going to destroy Azeroth and suck the Titan soul out of it. And then, N'Zoth has awakened and he's going to enslave everybody on the planet and destroy everything. And then Sylvanas and Zoval, they're going to rewrite reality and destroy everything. And the Primalists, dudes, they hate the Titans ordering Azeroth, and so they want to destroy everything and return things to primordial chaos. And Xal'atath is now going to use the evil Dark Heart to plunge everything into the void and destroy everything. Like, can we just deal with a bandit threat? Or like maybe like some sort of political rivalry between different houses before like an all-out war breaks out? I mean, the stories that really sit with me when it comes to World of Warcraft, I just made a video all about one over in Duskwood about this father. He comes home from war, his family's dead, now he's been driven into undeath through his grief and he's killing everybody on sight, and we have to stop him. Like, these are the stories that feel more grounded, more personal, there's more of an emotional connection to them. Big giant world-ending threats like, a great shadow is gonna eat the planet, you know, I'm just kind of tired of that. I actually really appreciated expansions like, for example, Mists of Pandaria, where it's just, we have Garrosh going crazy and he's trying to create some new horde that's going to cause trouble around the planet. We got to stop him. Like, you know, the more grounded stuff like that, I think was a lot more fun, at least in my opinion. And that's really my only complaint when it comes to the War Within. But anybody that started playing World of Warcraft recently, especially if they hopped in with the War Within, is not going to feel that way. You know, this is probably your first time, you know, your first world-ending threat, my friend. You know what I mean? The only other thing I guess I could say is Prey. Prey looks very meh, I have to admit. But I think that we just gotta wait to see more about it and, you know, get our hands on it and play it, because right now it just seems kind of like you're just kind of going about your business and all of a sudden a rare mob attacks you and it just kind of scales in difficulty. And I mean, I guess that's cool, but like, you gotta play it and see, you know, how it is. Also, whatever happened to the whole thing of all these different companions that we can have to assist us during delves? Like, why are we only getting one new companion per expansion? I'm not really a fan of that. I feel like that's a little, I don't know, that's very lackluster. A lot of people are saying that Midnight is very, well, they're calling it Midnight. That's kind of like the meme online, at least. I think if Blizzard pulls off player housing very successfully, I think if the Prey system ends up being pretty cool, and I think if they really throw a curveball in the storytelling of Midnight, where it's not so predictable like the end of War Within was, and Blizzard tends to move away from their unnecessary preaching that they tend to do in their recent storytelling, I think that Midnight could be a solid expansion. But we will see. So yeah, those are my quick thoughts on Midnight, both the good and the bad. As always, we're gonna see, you know, how it plays out, and if I do get beta access or alpha access, I'll be sure to maybe make a video or two, just kind of sharing my thoughts on it. But I want this channel to be primarily lore content, not my thoughts on Midnight or on a stupid new patch. That's not really what you guys are here for. So that said, if you would like to learn some World of Warcraft lore from back in the classic WoW days, I did mention a video earlier about a certain undead causing trouble in a certain zone in the human kingdom of Stormwind, and I highly recommend that video that's on your screen right now. It's a almost 23-minute long machinima that I think you guys are going to enjoy. Anyway, I will see you all in Midnight, and here's to hopefully a solid World of Warcraft expansion. Crossing our fingers, guys. We'll see how it plays out.